My name is Gareth Cliff and you're watching Joburg Today.
What can we expect from the City of Joburg's Department of Environment and Infrastructure following Mmc Michael Sun's appointment? He sat down with us in this regard.
If we talk about the city of Johannesburg, as the mayor has announced, it must be a golden start. And I think you cannot do the shine in terms of the golden start without power, in the sense of my department where we look after city power, Joburg water, pick it up, and very importantly, environment. So our immediate short-term projects is to identify ways how we can provide or reduce vastly all these outages in terms of electricity and water. So one of our immediate target that we have identified is cable theft, infrastructure damage. So number one, we want to obviously identify hotspot, as I've mentioned before. We have already identified hotspot in terms of city power and Joburg water. There are so many of them, but we need to tackle these problems one by one. What we want to do is that we want to ensure that there are CCTV cameras set up at these identified hotspots and link them into the Public Safety Integrated Intelligent Operations Center. We also set up whilst we were back in the previous term.
Yeah.
Then those CCTV cameras will be monitored to ensure that if there are any suspicious activities, any persons wanting to damage our infrastructure.
That's the reaction unit.
Exactly. So we can have that reaction to stop those infrastructure being damaged. Just to share with you, in monetary terms, the city suffers in excess of 400 million rand in terms of illegal connections. That includes, infrastructure damage. Can you imagine that if we were able to save that 400 million rand and plow it back into the city to provide more services? So that's what we're doing in terms of power outages. And very importantly for us in terms of illegal dumping, we've identified some sites now we are working on. Joburg water, the same thing there. There are too many water outages in the city. Some areas it can go without water for days. And our immediate solution there is to ensure that we have a quick response to these bursts and outages. And very importantly, we've also initiated this process of giving better communication. Can you imagine as a customer, you're sitting in the dark, you're sitting in a house with no water, and hours on end you're going to get feedback. And this is where we need to change things. And there's a very exciting project I want to share with you is the Energy in Daba, where we want to get the best minds of the industry, from the academia, from the role players. They must come and please talk to us as to say how we can get out of this cycle of load shedding. What are the better ways? What's the latest technology in terms of providing more electricity at a lower cost and lesser damage to the environment? So that's what we want to do. We want to get the best minds out there to come assist and talk to us as the city, so we can really say that to our customers that we are able to provide you uninterrupted service, cost effective, and at the same time very efficiently.
Mmc, just let's circle back to the issue of illegal connections. Just the impact to the residents. I know, for instance, businesses suffer when there's load shedding or suffer when there was water that was illegally connected.
So illegal connection, still impacts a lot of the community members, especially our paying customers, be it a resident or be it a business, they get affected. But on the other side of the coin, we also understand why people illegally connect to the grid, to the network, because they don't have electricity. So it's one of our aim that we need to electrify Johannesburg. We need to have our residents where they were not previously, enjoying the benefit of city-provided electricity or water. We need to provide those services, but at the same time, we need to ensure that we get enough resources. And more importantly, we want to ask the residents and the community to work with us, protect the infrastructure. It belongs to all of us. And going back to what you said, very importantly, Titi, is infrastructure investment. So just not in terms of the actual infrastructure that provides the services throughout the water or the electricity network. We also want to invest in technology. We need to work smart about these things. We want to invest, for example, into a system that we call Cllr, that we can monitor from outside proactively where it has gone wrong.
MMC, let's just zero in on the inner city specifically. You know, alongside the crime, you have complaints about the grime and the decay. What is your department doing about that?
We obviously want to look at a smarter initiative, and again, we're looking at technology. One of the project we've adopted is that we need to mechanize a lot of the cleaning equipments we have. At the moment, a lot of these cleaning functions are labor intensive. It depends on human. It's not to say that we want to get rid of our human component, labor component of the service, but I think again we just need to work smarter. So we are looking at those mechanized cleaning fleet where we can go do the same amount of work in probably 1/5 of the time at 1/5 of the cost. And again, we want to go out into the community. One of the areas we've targeted are the schools. We want to bring awareness, education to say to our young, our youth to say, let's keep our neighborhoods clean, let's keep our schools clean, let's keep our city clean, let's keep our country clean. And by cleaning up, we also want to enforce, because illegal dumping is something that we are not being paid for to do. When I say paid for, that the residents have to spend a necessary amount of money to go clean up after illegal dumpers. There's monies to be generated from waste. We're very mindful of that. So that's other things we want to look at. Turn waste into money is not new, but we want to ensure that we get all the role players involved, that our communities can benefit. Turn waste into money so they can, create this better living environment, and hence a golden start for the city of Johannesburg.
100% MMC. Just lastly from my side, and perhaps on a lighter note, what don't we know about Cllr Michael Sun? What would you like the residents to know about you, perhaps outside the business of politics?
I think the things that I like to share with my residents, I'm not a secretive person. I've been a councillor since 2006. This is where my passion lies. I'm a qualified attorney by profession, so my other passion is law, but I think my biggest passion now is serving the customers of Johannesburg. When I was in the public safety space, a lot of things was about enforcement, but I think I need to learn. I'm a quick learner, and I think the one thing I would want to share with you is that I really like to engage with people. I really like to listen to their stories. I would go to taxi ranks and speak to the gogos that are selling vegetables, and I would get down on my feet and say, what is that thing you're cooking? So I have a very inquisitive mind about a lot of things. So if we should meet up in the street, the residents, please, just come up to me and say hello.
They shouldn't be scared.
No, we are not. We are just about the same as any other resident out there. I think that the title or the job description, MMC, it's merely a job description. We come from the people.